Sunday, everyone. Happy fun day. What'd you do for fun today? Normally Gina and I decided to jump on together. The computer was down here and it just seemed like a nice way to connect. We've got the sunshine just dropping through the trees right now, just creating that beautiful glow. But it won't be long before it goes whoop. And so we honor the sun whenever it shines, because damn does it make a difference in how I feel. So how you doing today, Norma Jean? You want to share your little experience yesterday?
Just as you said, everybody's going through this in different ways and in different levels and going through it in different ways of the experience. So mine was ending up between a step and a planter yesterday, because when I stepped out of the door, it's like there was nothing solid for me to step out on. So I ended up on the floor or on the ground anyways.
On the ground.
So I got a little bit of soreness and a little bit of bruises coming up, of course, because when the form takes on, that much of an impact, it's going to show up somewhere.
It's one way to keep Norma Jean super present. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a bit of an ouchie for sure. So we're grateful you're here. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Shay. Good to see you. And as always, thank you, Carolyn, for running the background for us and the chat.
I'm a fall risk.
You're a fall risk.
Only because things keep shifting on me, Shay, okay?
Well, there's a huge energetic behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said it was like it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So explain what came through today around that.
So, sometimes we recall things that, our mind will use something when I'm in that state where it's, I'm wanting to understand all of, what that represented, what that meant, other than that I need to be more present. I need to do more of, more bodily movements and things like that. Today was what came through was, of all things, the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, number 3, which was Dream Warriors. And in that movie, and I'm just going to let you know if you ain't seen it, not that you need to, but alert, that what came through was a part where the Dream Warriors were in the dream and they were fighting Freddy in what's called the dream realm. Yet in the 3D realm in the movie, the father and the therapist, kind of boyfriend of the one that was in the third movie that was in the first movie, while this fighting was going on in the Freddy movie, while he was in that dream realm, what caught his attention was when they took because the father and the therapist was getting Freddy's bones, his remains, to put in sacred ground, so to speak, to bury him. And when that was taking place in this one scene, it's not even about the movie. It's about what the movie represented of that point for me to understand that when they were putting his bones in that grave, it caught his attention from what he was doing in what's the dream realm state. So what that meant for me was, okay, what took place was that even though I was preparing to go to the store with her, when I went to step out the door and it seems as though there was nothing there, but yet when I did hit solid, it was so fast that I just ended up on the ground. And what I get from that is that my higher aspect of self, that attention was drawn somewhere else because something shifted. Somebody was messing with something in my reality that was attached to me, or I was being utilized for something kind of like, that possibly being tied up into something. I don't know. I can't give you this answer. I just know that it happened so fast that the one thing that I got from it was that it was like I was snatched or bound to something, because at that time in that instantaneous moment, nothing existed. So that's what I got from that, is that it's just from the realization that just that part of the movie flashing into my mind let me know that it was just a moment in time where nothing existed. And I felt, I just felt the speed of what took place, knowing that it seemed there was something going on that grabbed my higher attention, that um, took my attention away from the form and what was taking place.
I can see that. I can feel that. Yeah. So we often call it like a timeline shift, or something happening in the etheric that then affects the form here. And so this is kind of where we're at in many ways. For those that are aware enough, there is never anything by accident. There's no such thing as, oh, that was random. No, it's all divine timing. It's all divine planning. Hello, Ada Love. Good to see you. Beverly, Rebecca, Donna, Cindy. We're grateful you're all here. So thank you for joining us today. And today is a new moon. So interesting that that happened yesterday, just even for that reason. It's not just a new moon, there's 2 moons in December. And so when this occurs every 2.5 years, this one's called the black moon. And not surprising as we go into the darkest part of the year. Yeah. Okay. How do you say that?
Zaya.
Hi, Zaya. Thank you. I didn't want to pronounce it wrong. So as we go into this winter season, this hibernation. Hi, Mary. Yeah, I bet. You're good. As we go into this hibernation time, we get to come out anew on the other side. And so we've been calling it a rebirth, literally an energetic rebirth. The cocoon, you don't know you're in it. It's something doesn't feel right. This is not how I normally feel, and that's okay. Go with it. Allow it. Do everything you're called to do around purging, releasing, letting go of, because this new moon is like a new beginning. But we get 2 new beginnings this month. So this bridge between the two, and we have December 21st, the winter solstice. So there's a lot going on, and a full moon on the 15th. So we've got, there's a lot of planetary alignments as well. So pay attention to your chart. Just be aware and know that it's all happening for your highest good. And it's not easy to let go of what was, because we have years. For me, it's 54 years of life that I've gone through and accumulated, so to speak. And that's got to all go, because if we're going to show up new and we're going to show up different, we got to let go. We can't have expectations of what's on the other side. We've been trained to believe we can know. Oh, come on, I want to know. Oh, come on, I can make it happen. In this case, no. Just do those little incremental steps that you can do to take care of yourself and love yourself and be kind to yourself. If you want to lay in bed all day and eat,
Bonbons.
I was going to say bonbons. I was like, maybe I shouldn't say bonbons. And read a book or watch movies. It's actually a really important process, for whenever you rest the body, so much more is going on. For me, this morning, I went into a float. Does anyone know what a float is? It's a sensory deprivation tank with a lot of salt water, so you float in the water. And so I went in there for an hour this morning. And that was very interesting. And I actually enjoy it, because it's like no phone, no light, no one to talk to. So it just shows me where I'm at when I'm in there. Where's, where does my head go? What's going on? And it just gives me a bit of a read. And then I had some specific questions I asked and did get some answers. And so we'll see what that transpires to be, and we'll keep you posted for sure.
What was the silence like?
What was the what?
Silence.
What do you mean silence?
Well, you're in a deprivation.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
there's no sound or anything like that,
No.
except for whatever's inside with you, which
Yeah.
is you just doing the movements.
Yeah.
What was that like?
What was that like? I like it. It's floaty. It reminds it's like being in the womb again,
There you go.
right? So it's a rebirth. And it popped into my head last week. It was like, go do float. And I haven't been in there for 10 years. So I feel like I'm also closing a cycle on something. But it's normally $75 a pop. I got 3 for $99. So that was number one. And there's something important with the luck dragon. So in the never ending story, there's something important. I don't know what it is, but that was the big message that came through, was go watch that movie. So we'll have to do that tomorrow night because we don't have time tonight. I'm at a sound bath tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Which is another whole thing, right? So yeah, that's another silence and just feeling. I've been doing a lot of eyes closed quietness, especially today. Yeah. And how are you feeling, Norma Jean? A little sore?
I feel a little better. I took a Epsom salt bath with
Magnesium
baking
flakes.
soda and,
Yeah.
and the powder.
Yeah. Bentonite clay.
Bentonite clay.
Yeah.
And that helped with my soreness because it was like I felt like I was using my right side for the first time. It was strange. But other than that, I'm feeling great actually, because it's like when I realized and recognized what took place, I still got up. I wasn't majorly hurt. It reminds me that I'm still so useful in all this. That even though the form is going through what it's going through, it also helps me to be present in the mindset of just realizing and recognizing that my body isn't as bad off as I might have thought it was. I might need to shed a few pounds, but the thing about it is like having that fall and being here, my arrival date 49 years ago, to have had that fall and still be able to get up, knowing that even though I'm just sore, I'm good. I'm good because my body still is very strong in its ability and its agility, regardless of, the fact that, I went in it with a big old, pretty good bruise on my arm, but that's what happens when, we fall. But falling can be considered on so many different ways and levels and understandings. I mean, I've had worse falls. And that's not even on the physical part. Physical part of it is I can handle that. Pain don't hurt, not in the way that, most people would describe it when it comes to the form. For me, pain hurt when it was an emotional one, so to speak. Because when I would be, when I would have those experiences of being hurt by words, by actions, it hurt to the core of me because I care that much about others. I care that much about, the human race, so to speak, because I have that type of heart. Yet, walking this journey I've walked, I felt more emotional pain than I have ever allowed. Physical pain to me, that was a reprieve compared to the emotional pain that I experienced throughout this journey. So now it's like, because I was able to embody understanding how to just allow the physical pain to let me know how much I was still alive walking this journey, regardless of how much I allowed the emotional pain to affect me more on that mental level, that now I don't have that emotional pain because I care more about how I am retreated, so to speak, with the people that I am having interactions with. that I'm willing to set boundaries, or I'm willing to pick up on not liking that energy so much, so I'm not going to go over there. Not because I have a problem or an issue with the individual, but it's because I recognize that energy and I don't want to go there again. I don't have to. I know that. So other than that, just coming to the fullness of the recognition that I'm still going. I'm still going to keep going. Regardless if somebody else is going with me or not, where it is that I'm going is my path. If I have others walking with me, like T, my family, if they so choose, beautiful, beautiful, because it's always more enjoyable with others. But also knowing that if I got to walk it alone, I will.
It's almost like we don't have a choice. And yes, Donna, thank you. She's on Arnica. We got her. I'm like, I have it. If you saw my kitchen, there's rows of shelves with all kinds of tinctures on them. And yeah, Arnica is a good one. So is DMSO. Yeah.
Yeah, I put it on my arm and my leg as soon as I got out of the tub. So
Yeah.
And then there's the Arnica.
Homeopathic.
Yes.
The candies. I call them candies. It's one way to get a kid to take them. Oh, they're just candies. You'll like it. Just put them under your tongue and let them melt. Yeah, they're super beautiful. Yeah, DMSO is great stuff. Absolutely. And even in that, so we go through these processes, whether something happens physically or mentally or emotionally, or you're sitting in that really neutral spot. One of the reasons in the deprivation tank for me was working on even my neck, right? So if I'm floating and I'm not having to carry the weight of the world,
okay, ow.
so to speak, right? Then let's see what this does for my neck, being able to just do this. There's also something about in that floating and then just running the energy up and down my body. Again, because nobody can interrupt me. Nothing can distract me. So I highly recommend it for people. Yeah, absolutely. And Rebecca's still got a bit of back pain. Oh, love. Yeah, I know that one well too. Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you bring that up. Because we was having a conversation yesterday with a few individuals that, we was talking about the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve sits here at where the head sits on the axis in the till. That's the reason why it's called Atlas and why he's got the world upon his shoulders, because this is where the knowledge is. This is where the knowledge comes forth. Okay, so when we understand that, there are times that knowledge must come from, because this is that pole. And some of that knowledge isn't all up here. So sometimes that pressure of the knowledge that we know we have within us sits at the root of our spine, waiting for that moment where there is what we say that flow, that place where that dam breaks, so to speak, or that where there may be a blockage, we're able to energetically clear that blockage for that knowledge to rise and to help us to fully recognize and fully embody those codes of knowledge that we have within us. So
the cat's going wiggy over a dill pickle catnip thing. Yeah.
So it's, coming to understand that knowledge is power. It is. That's what kind of got us in this mess to begin with, because so much of the knowledge that we hold within us, we bring here. And throughout time, it began to be written. But there's not ever one of those times that I've ever come across where somebody says this specific book wrote this knowledge and it's all true. It has the fullness of everything that you need to understand how to walk this journey in this life. No problems, no issues. Create a way, co-creator. Not once. So it's knowledge that we got to pick from here and there, and we have to allow that intuition within us to help us to understand the knowledge in which we take in. So I'm bad for it. I won't say bad. I hit those moments where I take in a lot of information, but I can, especially since I work on the quantum now. I mean, taking in information is like this for me because I can compute it really quick because I know I'm taking it in. But what happens is I just take it in and then I'll let it sort itself out, given how I'm feeling, given what I'm allowing it to do, because I know that certain information is going to hit those codes within my DNA that's going to unlock that portion of the library, of the Akashic library that's within me, and show me what it is I need to understand about that information on what's the truth of it and what might not have the clarity of the honesty of the truth. So that's where we understand the discernment and utilizing that as we tap into intuition, because we have to get out of the mind of this people. That's where a lot of our misinterpretations or misunderstandings of what someone may be speaking to comes from, because we want to make sense of what we're hearing instead of just sitting with it and letting the heart tell us what is being said.
And that's part of this rebirth in a way, in my opinion, this metamorphosis. As we go through this, it's the mind's like, what can we, I gotta fix, control, do something. But if you just listen to the heart's like, just fucking breathe. Just keep breathing. The heart knows it all. Absolutely. Yeah. And intuition is the way. So we're moving from this. We've been talking about this and how I lost misplaced. We'll say misplaced. One of my favorite purple zip ups for the winter, merino wool. I usually wear it all the time. I'm like, I don't know what I did with that. And so, and then I was wearing all green the other day, and I came downstairs and I said, I have a theory because I've been wearing it, right? I lost because the purple would be the crown. And so in losing that, what I did was it's more connecting with the heart, right? And allowing the heart to lead. So now I'm allowed, because I found the purple shirt. I'm like, oh, I can go back to the purple.
Look, it just surprised me that when she showed up with a green suit, I was like, that's interesting. That's not usually what she shows up with. Is always something dark, and it's usually purple or pink. So when I seen she had this new green outfit, I was like, interesting. I'll pay attention to that.
Yeah. So a little more heart, right? And this is big. This is part of that, being so observant as you're going through these shifts or these changes, and the mind immediately wants to make sense. It wants to judge it. It wants to figure out, what does it all mean? And it's quite beautiful if you just observe, or you have a challenge come up and you're like, oh, I got to fix that. What if you just let it rest? Especially if it involves other people, and you just observe it, because in that observation, you're just observing. You're holding your container, you're holding your energy within this, and then you're able to observe in a very beautiful, neutral way, so that absolutely, first organ is the heart. And if you're able to observe in a neutral way, you're not expending your energy on it. And I believe that is a very important upcoming requirement, because I can feel and see the collective here, the non-energy feeling people, I'll say, and that they're a little glitchy, right? They're sticky. I can see it. I can feel it. It's because they don't understand what's going on, and they're doing what they've always done, but it's no longer working anymore. And so in that, they're okay, I'm going to try harder to make this work my way. It's not going to work anymore. And so for us to be able to watch these mini eruptions, which is what I've been noticing and just observing, and we're going to see, I think we'll see more of that as the month continues. The astrology kind of dictates it. Would you want to add to that? I see you looking up something.
Well, it's beautiful because, when we think of organ, given what we've been conditioned in given what we were taught and things like that, we have a tendency as humans to not go to that critical or that beyond that just one specific thing we're taught things are. So that's the reason why I always say it's very profoundly important for us to understand the etymological root of every word. And I can prove it by reading this, which I put in our Telegram group. But I want you to hear this. And this is English etymology book. And it was something that they created. I believe it was 1800s. I haven't looked at the date in a while, but I need you to understand. I want to be able to read this so that way it gives you more profound understanding of what organs mean when they're utilized for words. So this is like this is the fourth study, and it says the words grouped according to their etymology. Words, like things, are known in certain organs of the body. So when we think of organ, sometimes we can even go to that physical manifestation of the organ in which someone plays. But when we look at organ, an organ is an instrument that does what? Creates a sound. So we refer, for instance, the words see, seek, and glance to the eye, smooth and even to the touch, grasp, grip, grope, and grapple to the hand, and hard, firm, strong to muscular action. Words are also known in the action of things upon our bodily organs. Water is that which flows. Smith is one who smites, and house is that which covers us. These things being so, we naturally group words under the organs of the body and the objects in nature from which they have their origin. This is the fourth point in the study of etymology. Words are grouped under the bodily organs and things in nature from which they spring. The words in these groups are chiefly arranged under Latin and Greek radicals. Radicals. The words which we have received from the French were mostly received by them from the classic languages. In historic etymology, we refer to them to the French. In philosophic etymology, we refer them to their primary source. The Gothic roots are sparingly given. The fewness of their derivatives and the simplicity of their forms make it unnecessary to occupy the large space which they would fill on our present plan. So, giving you this expression of something written that even then they still gave us a way to understand what words were, how they were utilized, what they were created from, and that knowing that for so many of the wars that took place where a army would go in and take over a particular area, and we talk about let us go down and confuse them. We're talking about them confusing them through time by altering the way that they express themselves through language. They would bring in other languages. Hence the reason why even here in Canada, there's French and there's English. And there may be other, and of course there's others because of the indigenous and things like that. So that's the reason why I say understanding the etymology of a word, to get back to the root of it, at least you know exactly what it meant at one time, to understand the distortion in the confusions that may take place with us as a human race when it comes to expressing something. So at least when we know when someone's expressing, they're expressing through those emotions and those feelings that are coming up, understanding how they're utilizing those words, that we can get beyond anything superficial of if there's any way that you may take something that someone is saying as personal, because it's not personal. It's about the whole. It's about the whole. If you can hear the message that is being provided, that is being brought forth? Because that's what's important. Do you hear the message? Are you listening to hear? Because for the most part, if it's a message, there's no need for a response or a reaction, only to sit with it, to understand it.
I like free radical. I want to be a free radical. Thank you. That was beautiful. And it's so absolutely true that there's a lot of times where I just sit and observe, and tonight I'll be at the sound bath and we have a little conversation. But the most profound thing is watching them go through their process, because I know when they're fighting the sound of the bowls, between that and that relaxation, but it's like this push pull that goes on within them. And so that's kind of what I'm there to help support, is create that container. And yeah, it's absolutely true, Norma, because also that ear is in the word heart, and two ears together, if I could pull mine off and show you, it would make the shape of a heart. And so remembering that there's so much more to heart than we've even realized. And the way to someone's heart is listening to them. For when you listen to them, your heart, which has a bigger auric field, so to speak, energy field than your body, will connect with theirs. And when that connection happens, somebody feels heard and understood, they're going to listen to you now too. And it creates this heart trust, heart bond. Absolutely. Would you agree?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. But you also got to understand too, even there's times that you've even seen that it's also a wound, because the fetus fits here as well. So when we go and we understand organs, understand their tones, each organ plays a different tune within the vessel. That's what the chakras are actually capable of helping us to understand, when we hit that place of that understanding, where we clear that disc of that chakra that sits at that specific position on the spine. And there are 7. And this is how those tones help with our frequency and our vibratory state, by our ability to listen from the heart, so that we may know how to better become those heart creative beings, to know what's good for the whole, for we understand it within ourselves. That if I know I'm choosing what's best for me in a moment, for it's for my highest good, and I know I'm not doing it in a way that negates someone else, runs over someone else, or denies that someone else, I'm just doing it for me because I know who I am. But it doesn't mean that I make that choice because I lack having respect for another being. It means I see where the other being is, and I value who I am and how I feel over knowing where they're at, knowing that they're in a position in place that they are not going to be able to hear me. Yet I can hear them, but it cannot be reciprocated at that level if they do not understand what I'm speaking.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, that's why countries like Korea, which don't use English spelling, their governments had to make sure they brainwash their people extra hard through their streamlined education and societal propaganda. Yeah, absolutely. And we did this to ourselves. We agreed as a collective to allow to go to this lower density to see if we could remember our way home. And I keep saying, damn, we must have been really bored.
Be creative. I'm telling you, the power we have through our But the thing about it is, though, is understanding also what Chastity was speaking to. That there was the ones of us that came down here and we did this with them. Yeah. And then they got very greedy and selfish and started using it against us in a way. And then they talked us into more things.
With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, end result was people thinking and acting the same. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I've enjoyed that gift most of my life. Friends and family always came to tell me their feelings about their world, stuff they wouldn't tell anyone else. They knew they could trust me with the information and that I wouldn't judge them. Makes me feel awesome when it happens. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even in my painting business, there's times where I've been with a client in a house and I just looked at her and I said, "Are you okay? Like, are you doing okay? Because this paint job isn't that bad." And then she had a complete breakdown and told me everything that was going on. So, yeah, there's that real honor to be willing to hear somebody and meet them where they're at. It is such a profound honor to hold space for someone else.
Mhm.
And I think it goes the same when I think about it, this soul connection that we get to have and through the meetings, and we had a new group come in yesterday to have a chat, and it was profound to connect that way and to have those conversations.
Yep.
And, you know, it's been a long time of we see things this way and not many people see it like we see it. And so connecting with more and more of these similar vibrations and frequency of souls is really, really beautiful. We've really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I look forward to it all the time. I It's one of my greatest joys, to be honest with you. To be able to have conversations that I've waited for so long to have with another, even if it's just one other person. But what's beautiful is becoming more. To be able to have what is considered the most meaningful conversations a group could ever have. And that's, who are you? What part of this, what piece of this puzzle we know we are in the process of putting together are you? Because you see, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that energy that each individual that comes in and becomes a part of this whole shows me they are. And I say, oh, I know where you go. I know the shape of the piece that you are. And it's beautiful, it's profound. Just like the snowflakes. There's never one that's the same. It's the same thing for puzzle pieces. There's never one that's the same. Very close, but it's never the same. And we all come in with those unique little designs. I don't care what it is, to fit in these beautiful, intricate layouts of a piece.
How many times have you put a puzzle piece on a puzzle,
Yeah,
only to
that-
realize later it was not the right piece? Yeah. Night's Dream. I could change my Rumble ID above Annie. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, and that actually just even saying Night's Dream, I'm like, yeah, those nighttime travels. Mine have been a lot of like last night was being in an area, it was more tropical, lots of sand and water, and for some reason doing energy healings in vehicles. It was interesting. Sometimes I just don't know what's going on or where it's going on. The last month has even been many more where I'm like gunslinger, like we're taking shit out. I'm like, okay. So be aware to make note of those, because even if you don't understand it at the time, you will remember it when you're meant to. When I was lying in the tank this morning, that's when the dream popped back in. Because again, once you get the mind really quiet, first thing that always shows up for me, it's always pink. Always has been pink for almost as long as I can remember. It's pink. And then it's my own eye. Great. We're just going to sit here and stare at myself now.
Ain't nothing else to stare at.
But it's like part of that. Okay, you're relaxed enough. Now you get this, and then you get this. And then depending on what questions I ask or what's going on, and sometimes I'm just observing. But I try and go in with an attention to just be the observer, because you never know. What I think I want to know might be really irrelevant to what's going on. And all I keep getting is we're clearing the way, because we have no idea how amazing it's going to be.
There's a connection there, Rebecca.
I had a deadly dinosaur in your dream.
It's just a connection.
Yeah.
It's a connection to that period in that time. It's called a time count.
Yeah.
That's what Chestia speaks to. Our dreams bring forth the understanding of our connections as well.
Yeah.
How much are we able to connect that understanding? Because you see,
Was it a T-Rex?
Yeah. You need to grab the boy. I can't. My arms are too small. So yeah, it's one of those. Is even with T talking about, even with my dreams, they've been more of a white light kind of feel of where I have been going. But it's also that a lot of it is understanding too that I'm having multiple ones in one night, because I get up, I go to the restroom, I come back, I go somewhere else. And in that, there are times that I'm with Chestia and I'm understanding more about the cohue. It's coming through strong. And I'm seeing how things are being created. I'm seeing what it's going to look like, because I'm telling you, cohue 32 is huge. And it's profound in what it is bringing forth for people to understand about what's taking place, about what was, and about what will be, and how it's going to assist you in understanding how to get through this journey in the way that we were always meant to, and to get out of this wheel and to actually create in the way that we were always meant to. So yeah, this just everything that I'm experiencing. There are times I can't always bring back the knowing of what it was that I was doing, but I have the knowing. I have enough of a image recollection to know that I'm in these particular levels and spaces and places. It's almost like I'm going even higher than I've been before, especially in my travels, because I'm hitting those levels, because I'm going and I'm learning whatever is at this level, and then I get to the next. So you see, this is what this is about. It's about doing what we need to on the other side as well. What are we doing on the other side? Are we recognizing what our travels, what our dreams are telling us? So this is about that connection, because there is the astral and there is the physical. And as Chastity is talking about, we're in the process of putting our astral body back on, so to speak, but we're within one. So
I'm still stuck on the dinosaur.
Right?
No, only because it's coming through that because you would accept. Yeah, check it out. Keep asking for more information on it, because I think you're going to come up to dragon. So that's
yeah. At night when I go to bed,
yeah.
You know what I say? Activate ancients. Keep showing me what I need to know. And I just keep going and going and going and going. And it seems as though I just keep getting to those higher levels of dimensions that exist even beyond our imagination. Because our soul knows no boundaries.
No.
Our spirit. Because the soul knows it's getting back to that higher place, because it wants to be in that feeling of the one. It knows exactly what that is and what it takes to get that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to have weird dreams, snakes, shootings, whatever needs to be cleared. And it's causing also like memory loss, because what's really important, that you remember everything you've done in this lifetime, or that you clear it so you can begin anew, right?
If you can't clear it here in the physical, you're going to clear it there in the astral.
Yeah.
And it's going to come through like this, like Freedom, Liberty, Love is talking about. And all that is the connection of the understanding of the higher planetary, or the higher connection to what cohue represents. Those dreams are telling you what your DNA was connected into. Doesn't make it good or bad. It just tells you what took place in your line, because you're carrying those codes. That's it.
Yeah. It's not as profound to remember. And if you don't remember, you're not meant to remember.
Nope. You don't have to go to 0 point.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And, working on it whenever you need to work on it. Yeah. Being ever so present that you're actually aware. Oh, that feels different. What is that one? Is there something I need to do with this? Is there something I need to shift energetically? Or do I just need to observe it and let it go? Sometimes, remember, breath is life. Breath is, you can do so much with the breath. Yeah, more than just keep this. Does 0 point cause this to happen?
No. It's just 0 point means that you think you have to figure it all out. But what you got to understand, if you go all the way back to 0 point, that's where you're beginning from. All you need to do is realize and recognize that once you get to a point and you have a realization, you don't have to go any further. You grasped it at that moment. Now move forward. And that's what Chastity speaks to. You don't have to go back to 0 point. It's already been done. There's no need to understand it all at that level of mental. It's about the knowing. It's about that aha moment where you're like, that heart jumps because you hit a tone. You hit a tone of that understanding of that code that came through, and you've seen it, you felt it, you knew it. So you had the clarifying understanding of what the truth of your experience was for at that time. Move on. Yes, show me more. You don't have to go all the way back to 0 point.
Yeah. So both Shay and Rebecca now have the back thing going on. And yes, Rebecca, mostly shit scenarios, and you always end up rewriting. You can rewrite the script. That's the beautiful part of this. If you don't like what's going on, you can change it. Absolutely.
You change it there, it will change it here. So understand what you're doing.
And I think part of this twisting is whatever's going on in the astral as we're reattaching, you will be feeling within the vessel.
Look at it this way.
It won't get more. Yeah, it'll clear.
It's like this right now. It's like taking a
go.
rubber band, and it's like this is under tension because we're ready. We're ready for that next shift, that next move. It's right here, right now. So the ones that are holding it in their back, you're just that other side of the rubber band. The ones that are feeling it in their head, it's just the other part of that rubber band. It just depends on where it's affecting you and what tie-in you have.
Yeah, you can see it and feel it. So, but can you ask it to subside? Right? Yeah. Neck pain, yeah, absolutely. It's I think one of the more common ones because of the Rahu Ketu that many of us carry and are working through. It's interesting, the state names: Golden State, Show Me State, Gem State, Evergreen State. Yeah, you're getting it.
So when we talk, and it's beautiful you brought that up, because when we think state, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Oh, the place that I live. We forget about our state of mind, our state of being. That's what came first, not the state of Georgia, the state of Florida, the state of Louisiana. We created that. You are the state. You are the land. You are the water. You're the air. You're it all because you're in form. You create this. You're the current. You're the value.
Yeah. Your health is your wealth.
And now you know why you're feeling
you're
feeling the way you're feeling. When you come to understand what all these football games or these football stadiums and these football teams and all that are all about, the kids that are even playing for these teams don't know what they're playing for. None. They just know they're going in, they're singing their fight song. And it's a spell. And they don't know it.
I haven't seen The Wicked, but that sounds like it might be interesting. Yeah. We're going to go see the new Moana. That's right. I promised Jade that. Yeah, I just got back from seeing Wicked. And so this whole color thing, it's quite phenomenal. And again, and the numbers. This is why we keep saying you should be so observant that nothing should really be bothering you per se, aside maybe from some physical. But you shouldn't be going into circles in your mind, because as you observe the colors, as you observe the numbers, you're getting information about where you're at and what's going on. And that's a whole new level of experiencing and being aware when someone shows up in your field and you know they're there for a reason by what they're wearing, right? Or what's going on. It's quite profound. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the reason why the etymology of the understanding of a word and the number. When you come to understand that, you see that's the thing about here as opposed to America. Here, they have numbers as well as letters for their postal code.
Mhm.
In America, it's only numbers. So where are they beginning to utilize numbers and letters? They're beginning to utilize it in the systems that they are using, that like places like Walmart and Target and all these places on their receipts. But you see here in Canada, in order to be able to take, because the one thing I've noticed, they here at the 7-Eleven, they're old stores. So they're still in an old system. So because they're still in that old system, they had to find a way to be able to still keep that, keep it connected to the new systems that are taking place, because this is British Columbia. So they started working in things like CAD before you started seeing the numbers in the dollar sign in the decimal. So when you begin to understand how all this, I'm telling you, oh, it makes you go, it kind of, I went on a little bit of a research, given something that I purchased, seen the price of it. Here in Canada, you have one tax and then you have another tax. And I still have a lot to learn about that, but anyways. And I'm like,
Because you have a provincial sales tax and you have a federal sales tax. They're getting you every single time you turn around.
Can you say tariff?
Yeah, right? We're being tariffed by our own country. Yeah.
So I get to looking at this. I see what the price is, the stated price to purchase. Then once they put the taxes onto it, and I see what the price is with the tax added onto it, then you begin to see time counts, because I've been hearing and listening to Chestia long enough. The purchase of it was 1954. By the time they added the taxes and the tariff, it was 2188. So I'm purchasing something that utilized a system from 1954, where by the time I'm done paying the tariffs and the tax and things like that for it to be brought here from that time period to 2188. And this is how I'm beginning to see things. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. This is just my process of what I'm allowing to come in for me to be able to understand more of the system that's in place and how it's been utilized.
I buy all anything that's got the weight and the package. I buy it all by numbers, nothing else. I'm like, oh, it's the price. Oh, it's that one. What's the price? Oh, it's that one. So it's, yeah, right. Pretty interesting. Trump and with Trudeau. Yeah, we'll see. So the way Canada works is you get, and it depends on which province you're in for how much the tax is. But we're being taxed on goods and services tax, which is the big one Trudeau's not giving 2-week break from. It's barely on any of that stuff anyway. It's quite a farce. And then there's a $250 gift coming in next year. I just observe it all. So but there's a lot of people really frustrated right now. And so the more the masses begin to understand what's going on, the more they'll get it. Like you buy a car used, you pay tax on it. And then when you go to sell it, you're supposed to pay tax on the person who buys it from you has to pay tax on it. It's like, but tax has already been paid when it was first bought. But so you can see how this rollover system, but people are just blind to it. It's just unbelievable.
And whoever said I needed a middleman between my dealings with someone else.
Right? That's the one we're excited about. Absolutely. Yeah. Hold on. I'm just going to read this one. This is from Nightstream over on Rumble. Right eye was moving through something today, clearing anew. Chastia told me the past only comes in if it's relevant for your future. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all you need it for.
Yeah.
Other than that, let it go.
Yeah.
For that's how we move forward to the new.
Yeah. The more where you attach and try and hang on to things. This is why that releasing is so important, and letting go of all expectations and just going, all right, let me know what's meant to unfold, because I'm really not in control. Although we always thought we were. There's something much bigger at play. And when you're on your path and you're not even aware that you're a soul having a human experience, and you're getting off course, off track, where you won't be able to come back to where you're supposed to be in this path, in this lifetime that you agreed to come in and do, you'll get signs. Generally, it's first just stub your toe. and then you might, hurt a little harder somewhere else on the body or the head. And then the third one is always a car accident. So whenever I find somebody who I know has had a car accident, I'm like, oh, what was going on in your life? And did you have a stub toe? So you start to see the correlation. They're like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, because you start to see these correlations, and this is energetically how things are happening. So in order to not have any stub toes or car accidents or other bodily injuries, although this one's different this time, ever so present, ever so observant. I can't believe how much less I'm doing. Less, I'm just being. I'm being. I'll nap twice a day if I can right now. I'll take it all in. Yeah. I'll read a book. We've been watching a few movies. Yeah.
It's been just, this is that space and place for me, as it has been for T, in that things are shifting for both of us in our understanding of what does presence mean to each of us now. For me, it's so it changes so much. I mean, there are times I lose gaps in time because I get so focused in something, and by the time I come out of it, it feels like I've lost a few hours, but for me, it was like a few seconds, but yet also days, months,
years.
Because where I come from is I don't exist in time. I'm just being guided as to what to focus on, where to set my intention. And to me, there is no time set on when that takes place. It's in, okay, I'm just in that creative process. I'm doing the best I can to understand how to master the inner, noticing that, okay, I've created this. Is there anything I need to look at? Is there anything I need to alter or shift about it that may, bring it forth in a different and quicker way, so to speak? Just like sitting here and saying, I create because I am. And that's bringing in that feminine energy, because the masculine is to bring forth the understanding from the knowledge, the rational and the logical way to approach something. But when we get into the creative process of it, the feminine is going to know, hey, I hear you. I hear you, masculine. But in my creative process, I know the ways where, instead of it being a hard arc or a hard turn, it's going to be one of those. It's a fluid, it's a flow. For I know the curves. I know how to weave and dive and soar. So it's about understanding to bring the two together, and them knowing that the masculine cannot become irritated with the feminine in a way it approaches and creates.
Yeah. And so what's that reminder? No. The rain that falls on the mountain that goes down the river, it doesn't ask where it's going. It doesn't ask, why am I here? It goes, and it goes to the ocean. So when we look at nature and it so knows its natural state, go back to your natural state as much as you can right now. Honor yourself. Be kind to yourself. Rest more. And bone broth keeps coming in, so yeah, I'm gonna be making faux soup coming up. So I love my homemade faux. But just that really nurturing. So treat yourself as if you're birthing something new. Take more baths. Put some oil on your skin if you're called to. But yeah, just be really kind to yourself right now. This is somewhere we've never been before.
It is faux.
Yeah, it is faux. Yeah, we love faux too. We've never been in this exact moment where we get to go through this process. You each have your own internal map, compass. Yeah. Right? My dog has no idea in the back seat. Dogs never do. They're just happy. We're going somewhere. We're doing something. We're creating. We're not consuming. We're creating a life. Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to leave you with that today. And if you're having an off day, share in the group. Got so many to support. That's what it's for. Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, I'm really excited to see what this rebirth brings. It's what keeps my heart open. How good can it get? How amazing can it be? Super excited. Yeah, we love you guys. Have a beautiful night. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share it if it resonates. Go do something